Back to Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. Sayyidina Ismail is important in many ways. He is important, as I said, because he indicates the universalism of the final Ishmaelite prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. He is important also in that he is half Egyptian, and that in the Genesis account, at any rate, Ishmael is the wild man, the outcast, whereas Isaac is the heir to the promise. And today's world is all about the triumph of Isaac and the humiliation of Ishmael, if you like, on the political level, not on the level that counts, the spiritual level, but on the Zahir. It's Isaac that rules in the State Department, not Ishmael. However, because Allah is compassionate, and because the message of the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was always for the weak, for the impoverished, for the oppressed, the downtrodden, the slaves, so that the hadith says, إِنَّمَا تُنْصَرُونَ بِضُعَفَائِكُمْ, you are only given victory through the weak amongst you. Islam has this Ishmaelite dimension, that it is the religion of the outcast, the rejected, the poor, the ghetto dweller in St. Petersburg or San Francisco or wherever. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves those people. He loves those huddled Bangladeshis in the ghetto mosques of East London, necessarily, far more than he loves the plump bishops. The apparent subjection of Muslims in today's world is a triumphant confirmation of our Ishmaelite identity and proof that since we believe in the moral coherence of the deity and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with the poor and with the downtrodden and with the oppressed, and that Islam has a preferential option for those people, that ours is a very strong moral position, because there are many people in the West who have a vague but deep unease about the inequalities of today's world. They're not happy about the fact that a third of the population of this country is effectively disenfranchised. The difference between rich and poor in the West has never been greater. The difference between rich and poor in the world at large has never been greater. It's a sobering fact that the gross domestic product of Tanzania is $2.6 billion, which is distributed amongst 30 million people. The annual income of Morgan Grenfell, the merchant bank, is $2.2 billion, which is distributed amongst 160 people. It's a measure of the extremity of the inequalities that exist in today's world, and a measure of the authenticity, religiously, of our Ishmaelite identity, because we are with the poor, the downtrodden, because we know that they are the ones whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loved, and whom the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam pleaded with his Lord to be resurrected amongst. He pleaded with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resurrect him amongst the fuqara. He loved the poor. Last point about Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, and it's part of this. Sayyidina Ismail, significantly, is from Egypt, but for the same reason is from Africa. And I don't see many African American faces here, although they're important amongst Muslims in Chicago and amongst Muslims in this country. And they are part of the proof of Islam's moral superiority through its Ishmaelite covenant, because Islam is the only major world religion that has African roots. Why does it have African roots? Because of Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. Through him, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Fatima, the Ahl al-Bayt, 50% African blood. It's not the case with Sayyidina Isa, it's not the case with Judaism. Ours is the only religion that has roots in Africa in that way. That's symbolically hugely important, and another indication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves these people, and that when they are ennobled by Islam and taken out of the institutions which Christianity hasn't really been able to deal with, such as the alcohol problem, such as the gambling problem, they become the spiritual elite of this country, and light absolutely blazes from their faces. And this is something that we should be acknowledging and revering, and we should be cherishing those people helping them, supporting them, welcoming them, being hospitable, as the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam was hospitable. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase them in number and to increase them in love of Him and in unity, and to bind together all of the Muslim communities of this country who necessarily, because of their recent provenance, are still disunited. And we ask Him to remind us always that the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam kana yuhibbul fa'l. He liked optimism. This is part of the sunnah. He liked optimism, and we should try and be optimistic as well. And as I've tried to suggest, there's plenty of space for optimism in today's world. We shouldn't be so gloomy. We should have more smiles on our faces, myself included. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us all and to carry us always until the grave on the great beautiful ship of salvation that is Islam. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. Very grateful for those allusions to my excursion across the Atlantic yesterday. Actually, it's no sacrifice at all. Imam Ibn al-Farid says, لولا شذاها ما اهتديت لحانها. But for the fragrance of the wine, I would not have found my way to the tavern. It's always a privilege and a great honor to come to this gathering. I suppose what I'm going to try and do is to add a few reflections, some of them fairly extended, hopefully not too extended. I take it that I have about half an hour, to what I was trying to get at earlier today. And dangle before you the suggestion that if we are not just to plod on as we are at present in our Western diaspora, but to be heard, which is our religious duty, we have to consider the fact that at present we have lamentably failed. And we have failed quite simply and obviously because we are not tuned in to the frequency of the Western ear. What is being broadcast from the minbars up and down the Muslim communities of the West is tuned into the frequency of hearers or microphones, as it were, back in the home countries in Egypt or Pakistan or wherever. Such sermons work very well and legitimately there, but here they have very little to say that can really catch the attention of people who are born in the West or who've been shaped by Western ways of looking at things. And what we need to do is not demand that the West change its frequencies on which it operates, because they're not going to fiddle around in order to hear us. They couldn't care less. If we wish to be heard, we have to change the frequency on which we're broadcasting, and then perhaps some kind of communication will take place. 99%, I fear, of our mosque imams have not yet got that message. And perhaps one of the principal ways in which we need to adjust the frequency is the way in which we speak about the founder of our religion, alayhi salatu wassalam. We know that the Blessed Prophet has been interpreted over the last 100 years or so, in particular, in more ways than has ever been interpreted before, in some ways quite aberrant fashions. Some have regarded him as some kind of pioneer social